Hey, Gina, welcome to the Virtual CMO podcast. Very glad you could join us today.
Yes, very good to join you as well, Eric. Happy
Virtually
Tuesday.
meet. Yeah, virtually meet even though we live in the same state.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I'm over here in Orlando, Florida. You're closer to the Tampa St. Pete area, correct? Where exactly are you in that area?
Absolutely. We're located in Clearwater, Florida.
Okay.
Yeah, it's beautiful here. I'm originally from Philadelphia, so it's definitely a change of pace for me.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, enjoying the warm weather and the beautiful living conditions. If there had to be a place to be trapped during COVID, right? Florida wasn't the worst place to be stuck.
No, it was actually great. My husband and I, we live on the water. We have a boat, so we could just escape out onto the water and not have to worry about the crazy things going on in the world. So it wasn't a bad place to be.
Well, I'm excited to have you as a guest today because we're going to get to dive into the topic of video and how to really engage your audience with video. And, what an amazing time this is to be a creator. There is so much power that we all pack in our phones and, the tools that we have on our computer to create some really compelling content. But I'm sure you've seen the statistics, right? Video is absolutely where it's at. What do you see as the state of video marketing right now?
So video consumption has changed significantly. When I got into the business 30 years ago, it was 100% television, right? From a video consumption standpoint. But nowadays we live in a multi-screen world. So even if you are watching television, well, you might be watching regular cable or a regular broadcast channel, but more than likely you're watching Hulu or some kind of streaming option. And at the same time, you always have, if you think about it, you always have another screen with you, your iPad, your cell phone, perhaps both. I find it interesting. My nephew lived with us 2 summers ago, and he would be sitting, and I kid you not, sitting in our great room where there's an 86-inch huge television, and he would be watching shows on the little iPad. So
yes.
Yeah, so viewers have many options, not just of what to watch, but where to watch it.
Yeah, that's so funny that you said that because right next door to my office here, when I constructed my house, I built a big media room for a big screen and everything like that.
Yeah.
I do the same thing. I sit in my chair and watch it on my iPad.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
I think there's something about that personalized experience. I know Apple released some things with spatial audio, so now the sound is fantastic as you're listening to it through headphones. The need for some of those big screens has gone away. But I'm interested, the way we're consuming content is different as well, right? It used to be more long form, and now there's so much short form content out there. What have you really seen in terms of the changes in the formats?
Sure, smaller bites. I guess you can say that Americans, or perhaps it's the younger generation coming up, has a shorter attention span, I suppose. And you're seeing that, you started seeing it with Facebook, but more and more on TikTok. And it's interesting, even, 50-year-old woman as myself, downloaded TikTok on my phone. It's an advertising outlet, wanted to familiarize myself with it. And I find myself just going down a rat hole with watching video after video. And all of those videos are 1 minute or less.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got influencers on there, which you have on other forms of social marketing. But really on TikTok, you've got, you're watching fun videos, or you're watching somebody you follow and they might be drinking some energy drink, or, and they just kind of mention it. So it's almost like the old product integration on television that we used to do so much of. So.
Well, I'm curious too, because, you talk about influencers during the pandemic. Obviously,
Right.
So much changed for people. You even had the, network anchors broadcasting from their homes. And I think, you and I are live on a video stream today. We're broadcasting from our offices. It seems like there was a lowered expectation of quality. So that now, you could be somebody, a journalist broadcasting from your home, and everybody knows it's a green screen behind you, and, the dog may walk in, but that's okay. Do you see that really being a trend for the long term, that this casualness in video is here to stay?
I do. We call it UGC actually in the advertising world, user generated content.
Okay.
And it is much more engaging. And you're not only seeing it in social, you're seeing it in television ads as well, where you'll see somebody videoing themselves and they're riding down the road on a bike and they've got it imposed. And it started, or I should say, it didn't start. We were always using UGC for the past few years, but it kind of propelled forward because of COVID, and a lot of television production houses weren't operating. So they had to, utilize the footage they had or get UGC content for their testimonials or from hosts or whatever the case may be, and then do it all in an editing. You're also seeing a lot of animated spots as well.
Yeah.
So
with the rise of like this short form content and this more casual way of approaching it, why do you think something like a Quibi failed?
Well, they're not gonna, there's so many. There was MeWe and Parler, and I know the one went away because of the, political.
Right. Parler. Yeah.
But I think you're gonna see a bunch pop up, and they're not all gonna gain traction. There was one a few years back called Bite Size TV. I'm not sure that one ever took traction, but people are going to be trying to put platforms up, and it's all about what gains traction or what doesn't. I know on my phone now, because you've got Snapchat, you've got TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and I'm personally try to keep up with them from to look at them through an advertising lens to understand what's going on in the world and what consumers are engaging with and what other folks are doing from a competitive standpoint. But it's a lot to keep up with, right? All these
Absolutely.
different platforms. You don't want to be sucked in all day. But yeah, I think you're going to continue to see things pop up. Facebook is now for the older crowd, as they say, and I guess I fall into that. But the millennials and under are primarily using Instagram and now TikTok, which is even younger. I think their primary demo is 16 to 34. So it's going to continue to change. And who said to me the other day that consumer is now the marketer? So we have to follow where they want to be.
Yeah.
It's certainly moving quickly.
So quickly. And it's interesting too, because, you've got this short form content that's very casually generated. And then you've got, production houses like you have there at Bluewater TV, and you've got facilities to do really professional work. And then, we're sitting at home with things like Zoom and green screens that are now becoming popularized for everybody. You can swap out your background, maybe not to the level that they do it at a studio like yours. But
Right.
Where do you see that going in terms of where will the need be for a full production shoot at a studio versus, just grabbing your phone and some lights and microphones and going out and shooting something?
So I still think, from a television standpoint, you're still getting the higher qualities. Yes, there was a bit of a change during COVID because people weren't in studio. So, but you're still going to see the high quality. It depends on the platform. So when you're shooting social content, you don't need a big full production. It's shot on your phone, it's UGC, it's things because you've got a short period of time to engage somebody that's scrolling past. So it's not going to, and I don't know for sure, but I would say with pretty much certainty that it's not going to go completely away from, full professional productions.
I would imagine, though, that even in your world, things have changed quite a bit. It seems like so many motion pictures today, so much of it is being shot in front of a green screen and backgrounds are added in later. Have you really seen a big change over time in terms of, building sets and shooting on location to really going to more of this green screen shooting?
It really depends on what it is. We still build quite a few sets. At Bluewater Media, we have a 36,000 square foot facility. And we have, a large team on staff to design and build sets, different studios. We've got 3 crews on location today shooting. So it really depends what it is. But, we try to not use the green screen unless it's something that requires the green screen. Do you know what I mean by that? So if it's a set we can build or a location that we can go, we still stick with that at this point.
Because the green screen is mostly for control of the environment, right? Or just the cost of getting there?
Or something that, you want a volcano behind you, or something that, you're not going to be able to do, or something that is, something you wouldn't be able to shoot because it's limitless when you've got a green screen behind you.
Yeah. I'm curious too, as you obviously I know you shoot things like commercials, but when you're talking about various businesses, one of the things that we strongly advocate is for businesses to create a strong brand story, to be able to really articulate their value proposition and what their brand stands for. And you've seen so many businesses now, your own included, that right on the homepage, the very first thing that you see is the name of the company, and then there's a hero image, usually with a video in it that explains sort of what that company stands for. Have you really seen that become just a way to start engaging with businesses as they want that kind of presentation?
Well, it's immediate gratification too. So all the things we're talking about are the immediate gratification that the American consumer wants. So these shorter snippets, a video, somebody goes to your website, they immediately need to know who you are and what you do, and then dig deeper for the detail, or you want them to contact you and engage immediately. So
what do you think are some best practices as you've worked with clients building those out? What are some things that stand out to you, or what do you advise people to make sure that they have in videos like that?
For a video or for a website?
No, for a video on the website, for that.
A video on the website.
Yeah.
So showcasing, when you watch the video on our website, you know exactly what we do. It says creative, media, analytics. So it's not only getting across the point of your brand, your core services, but it's also at the same time, because we're showcasing some of the creative snippets from different commercials. It's giving you also a sample of our work at the same time. So it kind of hits those three major points.
Yeah. Being able to, just talk a little bit about that story, about what that brand is, and really, identifying maybe who some of the people are, some of the physical locations of your buildings, just giving people some sense or identity of really who you are as a company.
At a higher level, right. And that's really important for your homepage there, for the homepage video.
Yeah. So now if I was a company and I wanted to embark on some sort of a video advertising campaign, where do you start? How do you start with that creative process? That may be a tough question to answer, but where do you start when a new client comes on board and says, hey, we're going to be running this new campaign. We need some videos to go along with it, but they don't necessarily have an idea of the creative of what that video is supposed to be, maybe just at a high level. How do you usually start working through that process to narrow it down to figure out what is this video shoot going to look like?
Sure. When we first engage with a client, we take a big step back. And we do a lot of research. We want to understand what they've done before, what's out there. We want to understand their brand and their brand guidelines. We want to understand the competitive marketplace and what others are doing in that space and what's successful. And then we have a discovery call with them to kind of dig deeper into that. As far as the creative concepts that we create, we have a full team of creatives here, as I like to call them, that will sit down and come up with different concepts. And we might, throw 10 at a client and then walk through and see, it's really interesting with creative because there's no right or wrong answer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in the marketing and media world, or the strategy side, it's more numbers, it's more what's proven, that kind of thing. But on the creative side, when you're talking just about the pure creative concepts, it's more of a partnership with the client because they've got definite ideas or thoughts that you will try to incorporate, and then also bring your expertise to the table. There are proven elements in a commercial especially when you're talking about direct marketing. In the beginning of the commercial, you want to do something that's going to engage the consumer. That might be, attention, or that might be, the sound of a hammer hitting something, or something that grabs their attention. and then maybe some kind of problem solution that's going to, if you have this problem, then you've really engaged them further, because yes, they have this problem, before you're announcing what the product is that's solving that problem, right? And then you're going to go into your features and benefits to build that offer prop, and then move to some type of call to action. And when I say that, it's okay, you've now sold the viewer on it. How can they get the product? What do they need to go to the store, go to a website, call phone number, or go to Amazon, that type of thing, so that they can get that immediate gratification.
Is most of your business nowadays, is it currently focused on digital advertising, or do you still do a lot of, mainstream television?
I would call it omnichannel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody is really just going on television or just digital. Sometimes they might start digital when you perhaps put a higher marketing strategy together, where they're doing kind of crawl, walk, run to build up to that, or testing different offers or different concepts digitally to see what resonates best with different demographics, or to understand who your demographic actually is. You can do that with television by doing audience segmentation testing, right? Because national cables will still skew vertically. Or you can also do it with digital and different affinity groups on, let's say, a Facebook or Instagram. So, but very rarely do you have somebody just going out with one channel. And I mean, now there's also, there's direct mail, and there's other things that are kind of making a comeback a bit. I always say, your email box is now the mailbox that's very full, and your actual physical mailbox does not have all of the quote unquote junk mail that it used to have back in the day. So that's making a resurgence. It does depend on the audience you're going after, though. I don't know that I would do a direct mail campaign for 25-year-olds, but
sure. No, you're exactly right. Well, we've talked about it before on this podcast. During COVID, the amount of physical mail that people received went way down.
Yeah.
Way down. And it wasn't just the post office being inefficient. There was just a lot less mail going out, for sure.
Yeah, well, that's the post office now actually does, at least in our area, they do shipments for Amazon. Yep. So trying to keep themselves busy with the, less volume of mail.
Yeah, I mean, you see those trucks all over the place.
Yeah.
As I've talked to a number of clients who are interested in shooting a commercial, and one of the things that intimidates them, I don't know why, but I live in a neighborhood where every once in a while, maybe once a summer, someone decides to shoot a commercial at one of the houses here. And that it's happening because there are signs up on the corners. There are lines of cars up and down the street. There are trucks, and there are,
it takes a village.
It takes a village, exactly. And business owners look at that and said, if it takes a village, it takes a truckload of money to do it. Why is there that perception of complexity? And oftentimes, why are so many people needed for these big production shoots?
Right. And what you might be seeing is just a particular segment.
Yeah.
So that might be, that whole day might be 10 seconds in a 30-second commercial, right? So it really depends. I've had folks say to me, well, what does it cost to make a commercial? I'm like, well, gee, I don't know. What does it cost to buy a car? So there's so many different things, location, talent, whatever. Sometimes, if we need a sunset, or do we need it snowing? Do we need it raining? It really, is it a food shoot? Do we need all these different food stylists? So it really does depend on what it is. But you've got grips, and you've got production assistants and producers and associate producers and the director, and there's tons of equipment and different camera angles. And do we need jibs? Do we need, what kind of lights do we need to get that perfect lighting?
Mm-hmm.
There's only so much that can be done in post, right?
Right. No, every time I do one of these live streams, I'm always monkeying around with lights and whatever. It's a lot to think about. There's a lot to think about to make it all look right. So as we sort of are winding down here, I'm curious if people are interested in creating a spot, doing a commercial, Do you recommend that they start first maybe working with an ad agency to start to build that creative, to get a framework of what they want before they engage with a company like yours? Or do you encourage people to come directly to you, and you said you have a creative team and can start to do some of the work for them?
So we are a fully converged advertising agency, with full media, both digital and television. We have full creative, and we have not just television production and editing and everything in-house, but we also have a full digital content team, because as we just discussed, those are very different.
Yep.
We have an Amazon Marketplace team. So, we're a fully converged agency, and that's how we're structured to handle that. So clients come to us with many different marketing challenges, and we help them with the right solution. So absolutely, I've come to Bluewater.
That's great. I just off the top of your head, are there any things that you've filmed there that particularly stand out that you thought were just really great or funny or just memorable?
Yeah, I mean, it's always cool. Now, mind you, at the beginning of my career, I was in the media strategy and planning for most of it. So to come here to Bluewater to see like the front end piece of it, and come in and they're we're shooting something with Jillian Michaels or Kevin Hart. So that's kind of exciting to me to see that kind of thing, and also to see the behind the scenes, like see what we do with the green screen, or see all of the pieces that it takes to put it together. It's really exciting, I think. But still, when I see talent, it's still kind of I don't know. I don't want to say I get starstruck, but
Yeah, no, I understand though. When you see somebody walking on your set, it's like, yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, as we wrap up here, I'd love it if you could just share with the audience where they could find out a little bit more about you, where they could find out about Bluewater, and how they could reach you all.
Yeah, no, great. So Bluewater Media is a fully converged national advertising agency in Clearwater, Florida. Our website is bluewater.tv, and you can reach me directly by emailing me at Gina, that's Gina, at bluewater.tv. I would love to discuss your marketing challenges with you to help you come up with the right solution.
I think it's great. I think it's exciting that as we're sort of rounding the bend here with this pandemic and the economy is lighting back up, that marketers are really talking about spending money again. And there are some tremendous opportunities in the marketplace. Behaviors have changed, and I think there's a real opportunity for those who want to get ahead of the curve to really start to take advantage of these new behaviors. And video is certainly going to be something that people are going to want to jump on if they haven't already.
Absolutely, especially now with most companies trying to engage directly with the consumer. It's so critical.
Absolutely. Gina, this has been fun. I really appreciate you taking out the time to talk to us today and sharing your thoughts.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.